fast as something like goblins.
There's a couple of interesting little interactions here. They're both running 4 Thalia, and they don't really do anything in this matchup to each other's deck, except for legend rule each other out all the time. So it'll be interesting to see how those kind of play out, just because they do so little in this particular matchup.
And a turn 1 Windswept Heath from David, and a turn 1 Hierarch from Cedric.
I will take Cedric. Just gets a basic.
Yeah, there is quite
a
bit of
running 4 Wasteland, I'm assuming.
4 Wastelands in both decks. Let's switch these so they line up, just so we.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, 4 Wasteland each. That's typical Maverick.
So I've never played a game with Maverick. I've only seen a few of them played. I don't know what the critical cards are here. Just looking.
Knight of the Reliquary is kind of.
That seems like a huge one, just because it can get bigger than anything else on the table.
It's almost really all about like casting. Well, one thing that's huge in the mirror is Linvala, because it shuts off the entire. The other guy just has a vanilla green white deck, and you've got the same guys that are all able to activate their abilities. If you can go, if you can basically stick Knight of the Reliquary and protect it with something like Mother of Runes, you're in great shape. If you can get a Linvala down, you've probably won. Unless the other guy has Caracas.
Okay. Oh, Mother of Runes seems
there's
important.
There's a Mother of Runes,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
So Mother is able to protect all those creatures as long as the other guy doesn't.
Get them in.
Yeah. So another big card, as I mentioned, Caracas, because it bounces the opposing Linvala.
Okay. Now these aren't main deck Linvalas we're talking about, are they?
1 main deck Linvala each, and 2 in the board for. See now,
so
Cedric is set up against the mirror.
Like, you can't green Sun Zenith for that. Is it just a Mize? Is there another way that this deck has
Fauna Shaman?
Oh, we can Fauna Shaman.
Yeah, so you can green Sun for a Fauna Shaman. They both have just a 1-up.
Okay.
So it's a long setup, but.
Oh no! Is that the Knight of the Reliquary?
That is a Knight of the Reliquary from David.
No, not David. I meant from that.
No, from
Knights versus Dragons.
It is. Is that a problem?
Oh,
You were like,
I think the artwork is
I don't like that artwork
the worst possible choice. We see a Gaia's Cradle for Cedric. That's going to get him way ahead.
Gaia's Cradle. Umezawa's Jite is going to be
huge. Give this protection from
Puts
something.
It on his Scavenging Ooze, which gets pro. He could go pro white here. I mean,
or green.
Green. Yeah. At this point, David doesn't have access to anything. But so Ooze gets in, and now.
Now, wouldn't you kill the Knight of the Reliquary with the 2 tokens?
I think.
Oh, he needs to protect the Jite.
He's protecting the Jite.
He needs to protect the Jite. Okay.
Right. So David was, Cedric saw an opening where David was tapped out, could not sacrifice the Pride Mage to deal with the Jite, so he just is able to get through and then kill the Pride Mage with the Jite, and so. And
usually
it works the other way around.
For 3 damage as well?
Yeah, he also kind of hit him and kind of did some damage. Yeah. It's interesting how, usually the Pride Mage takes out the Jite. In this case, the Jite takes out the Pride Mage. But
so we're
second Knight.
2 of these.
Second Knight.
And it looks like they're going to be able to get big enough so that the Jite can't actually.
Yeah, can't take him out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I liked Cedric taking that opportunity that he did, but David's punishing him a little bit. So Wasteland from David off of the Knight gets Cedric's Cradle, and
so how big
David's
are these
Knights
1,
are
2,
massive.
3, 4, 5 lands in his graveyard?
I think there are 5 lands in the graveyard.
So there's 7/7s?
They could be 7/7s right now.
Holy
We can
smokes.
get confirmation of that, right?
So it looks like that Mother of Runes is going to be doing some work here.
Yeah, I think so. So you can see how even
now wait a minute, but can't Cedric start using his green mana to eat those lands with his
He
ooze?
can. That is one way Cedric
can start
fight
grinding this
fight
whole
the
thing
Knights,
down.
Yeah.
Now currently he only has access to 2 green. Now if he was able to keep that Cradle, he would have had 5 mana available, assuming he doesn't hit a land drop here, which would have been able to just eat all of the lands in one hit, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bummer for Cedric here.
Pretty nice play by David to get rid of that Cradle that quickly.
He recognized very quickly that was going to be a problem.
Cedric has just 1 Cradle in the deck, so
it's legendary, right?
It is legendary.
So you don't want to risk piling them up.
Yeah, I mean, does David even run 1? Okay, they are 7/7 Knights. I don't even see Gaia's Cradle in David's deck.
That's not a cheap card, is it?
It's about $60.
Not unreasonable.
No, it's not.
I wouldn't call it cheap.
No, it goes in like Elves and occasionally Maverick. I feel like I've seen more Maverick decks with it than without it.
Okay, so let's say that David attacks, and let's say that Cedric does nothing. Well, let's just see what Cedric does, because he'll figure it out. The best way to get out of this thing.
Mother of Runes appears to be targeting Scavenging Ooze.
It's interesting. He really wants to get counters on the Jitte, and I mean, that makes sense, right? Like, every time I've made the mistake of thinking, oh, I'll let him get a couple of counters on a Jitte, I just died.
Yeah. Jitte is like the earliest Planeswalker. You know, the very first Planeswalker, but you've got to get the counters on it.
Abilities.
It does, has 3 abilities, and you remove counters to do things. It's just like, wow.
The earliest Planeswalker. I kind of like what you said there. 2 counters.
Yeah, I think how David's like, you get more than 1, you get 2. Oh, thanks.
Are all ready to go.
All right, so Cedric gets in with the Ooze, doing a reasonable bit of damage, but may take quite a bit back on the swing back if David decides he wants to just go ahead and slam him with 14 power worth of creatures in the form of 2 Knights of the Reliquary.
Now, Cedric has 4. He can gain 4 life here whenever, currently. Is it 2 life per counter?
I believe so, yes.
On the Jitte, I mean.
Right, per Jitte counter it's 2, and then he can also gain life by
only
exiling
if he
cards
eats creatures.
if it's a creature,
Yeah,
right?
uh-huh.
And at this point, I believe there's just the Pride Mage in
Yes.
David's graveyard.
And it seems like it might be in Cedric's better interest to just start eating those lands and shrinking the Knights, although I don't know if he can keep up with that. He's got a kind of an annoying wasteland there. Sack this.
So David, rather than attacking, is using the Knight of the Reliquary to its maximum value. Now that's
another card from Conflux.
Yeah,
one of my favorite sets.
Knight of the Reliquary was like a $2 card. I mean, I remember Big Head Joe talking to me. He's like, I traded for a foil Knight of the Reliquary. It was like, $4 or $3 or something like that. Just before, just when I think fetch lands had been spoiled for a Zendikar.
Big Head Joe, getting them.
That was a good trade.
Is that a second Pride Mage that just came down?
He's
going to use it to destroy the Jitte.
He certainly is.
Uh-oh.
So
take 2 of these things off. Are we just gaining 4 life here?
I think
is there anything reasonable to do otherwise?
Yeah, I think he's just gaining a life, and otherwise, I mean, you can shrink the Knights, but that's not that appealing.
Right. Green. It looks like he's just going to remove the creatures first. He's not going to go for the lands. He's just going to try to make a big ooze.
Is Cedric at 24 life right now? Is that?
Yeah, he gained.
Yeah, that's. He's pretty safe.
He hasn't been hit yet, but man, those Knights are huge. And they're going to get bigger too. He has another Wasteland. I also see a Maze of Ith, I believe.
That will...
And a second Hierarch, which I think is going to come down right now. Making sure how many... They're all lands.
Yeah, the 8/8 Knights of the Reliquary.
The interesting thing about Maze of Ith on Knight of the Reliquary is that it does allow him to use it again.
Yeah, he can actually activate the Knight. Like, sometimes you actually maze your own Knight just to be able to activate that ability.
Yeah. Count. Thinking. I mean,
nothing.
Do you think he's just thinking about just racing him? Like, he can be on, like, he's already got a 4/4 ooze. He can give it protection. He can attack for 6. That's a 2-turn clock.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Cedric's kind of thinking about here.
That's the plan?
I mean, he's actually, that seems to be a better plan right now than David's, since David just has 2 giant knights, which you think would be enough.
Knights, but it's just not enough currently. Oh, he's just going to pass the turn back, so that is not his plan. All right, David's turn.
Can't quite see what's in his hand or Cedric's hand.
He's thinking about it. I mean, does he have an attack here?
I feel like not with that Mother of Runes really around. I mean, you can kind of, obviously you can like smash
I think
in.
this one is attacking. He hasn't sacked anything, and that's part of the cost. So.
All right. Apparently swords to plowshares and Dryad Arbor in David's hand. So.
All right. So what it looks like is David is trying to set up a situation where he can swords the Mother of Runes.
Yeah, and maybe Cedric is trying to avoid that by leaving it untapped there.
Mm-hmm.
Not giving David the opportunity. So here we see Cedric shrinking the knights. He also apparently has another Knight of the Reliquary. Wow. He's shrinking the knights.
But it just grew again because...
Right. But I think it was post-attack. So basically he takes some lands out of David's graveyard to shrink the knights. All right, the knight connects. Then at the end of the turn there, he goes ahead and uses his wasteland to kill the canopy, which forces David to, I guess, use the canopy.
Which he drew.
Which he does, and I believe he drew Mother of Runes. Yeah, so... And plays a Dryad Arbor. So now Cedric needs to find an answer for that Mother of Runes before it is online. All right,
I mean,
Cedric
he does
untaps.
have 2 different colors of creatures.
And he sees Maze and Horizon Canopy, I believe, are in Cedric's hand. Yes, pretty sure that's what his hand is.
All right. Now, why hasn't Cedric just played that Maze? He's had it for like 2 turns, right?
It just plays it right into a wasteland, I think. You know, because Knight will just search for another wasteland.
Okay.
You know, like David can just go, okay, you played Maze, end of your turn.
Blow that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just get a wasteland, blow it up. It's the funny thing about Maverick is how it sets itself up to be in a situation where, like, it actually, you know, David is probably fine if he just is sacrificing his forest and his plains to get wastelands to knock Cedric off his mana, because then if both players right now have no lands in play, the board favors David with just multiple knights and his own Mother of Runes.
Yeah.
And those knights are big.
Cedric's banging his cards on the table. It looks like he's hemming and hawing about what he wants to do. Can't be too excited about the lands that he has. All right, so we're going to see the Dryad Arbor get sacrificed. It is a forest, right?
Yes. So David activates his knight at the end of Cedric's turn, searches for wasteland. So he's going to do that anyway. He's going to go ahead and either wasteland Cedric's wasteland, which is, yeah, that's what's happening here.
Because now
Cedric can't do anything with it, yeah.
Yeah, because now he can get other types of lands with his knights, right?
Yeah.
You know, like if he was going to get some special land, it was just going to get wastelanded anyway, so now he takes that ability away.
Exactly. Yeah, and also Cedric has no targets to wasteland back. You know, it's not like
yeah,
David
usually
goes
waste
out.
your waste to waste that thing.
Yeah.
Right.
The knights are now 10/10s.
Now, does Cedric have access to 4 different green mana now?
He does have access to 4 mana, 4 green.
So
Hierarch,
he can start
Forest, Canopy.
plowing through that graveyard and shrinking those knights back down to reality if he wants.
Yeah, those knights can go down to 6/6s pretty much whenever Cedric decides he wants them to shrink, if that's how he wants to use
And
his
then all
mana.
the way back down to 2/2s the next turn.
Yeah, so Cedric's in a reasonably good spot with just the Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah, that Ooze is going to do some work here.
Yeah, I think that's another key card in the Maverick matchup. I mean, because Knight of the Reliquary is so huge, I don't mean power toughness wise, I mean it's so significant in the deck. Scavenging Ooze becomes such, that much more important in the mirror if you don't have access currently to a Linvala. Because Linvala is pretty good too, like shutting down the Knights from doing all that craziness. But if the Knights are already 10/10s or something, that's it's nice to have something like Scavenging Ooze to shrink the opposing graveyard.
I've been so impressed by Scavenging Ooze.
Now here's another card that you notice that is in I believe it's in David's list and not in Cedric. Now main, I'm talking because Cedric does have it in the board, is Bajuka Bog.
Oh yeah.
Which is a great way to shrink Knights.
It is.
Swords to Plowshares now, David, in response to Cedric activating Mother of Runes.
Well, actually, it's... Okay.
So now Cedric
has chump blocked with one of the Hierarchs, and he's going to take out 4 lands with the Ooze after Plow. Now Plow's what is Plow killing?
I believe I thought the Scavenging Ooze.
Okay.
And so that's why he's going crazy activating it.
Well, it doesn't get big. Oh, you're just saying while he still has it.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant. While he still has it, he's
right,
trying
now,
to...
Isn't one of these Hierarchs dead, though? I saw it way up on that Knight that's tapped. Wasn't it blocking it?
It may be exactly what so it might have chumped, it might have gotten in front, Mother of Runes activates to give it protection, and then David
protection
says plow your...
while he has the window.
Plow your Scavenging Ooze.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right, Horizon Canopy going to the yard here for Cedric, trying to get him another card. Cedric down to 1 actual land in play, 2 in hand.
Yeah, 2 in hand, though. We see a Maze of Ith on David's side now as well. Can get a little awkward, but it feels like, given the board state now, it feels like it favors David.
Yeah, he was able to... well, drawing his own Mother of Runes was kind of huge. He had that Swords that he just was waiting for the opportunity. So putting all that pressure on with the Knights kind of forced Cedric to use his Mother of Runes, and then David had the opportunity to kill the Scavenging Ooze.
It's interesting that David decided to kill the Ooze, even though Cedric was going to get to use like half, he's going to kill half of his graveyard, because now Cedric does still have his Mother of Runes, which is pretty relevant.
Yeah, but I think, a 6/6
hey.
Yeah, another Mother of Runes. There we go. Yeah, so David still has 6/6 Knights. 2 of them. I mean, I've heard Titans are pretty good.
Truth.
And he's still able to grow them with their own abilities. So it's getting the Scavenging Ooze off the table was pretty big.
Yeah, because these Knights are just going to get huge.
Well, at some point they were 7/7 Knights. I think they may now be 8/8 Knights. Because they were 10/10, they went down to 6/6s from Cedric's activation, and then the Knight found a fetch, sacked the Forest or Plains. I didn't quite catch it, but
Plains.
Okay, sacked the Plains. That makes it back to a 7/7, and then searches for the fetch, uses the fetch. It's an 8/8. So the Knights are both 8/8. So forces of nature here. And looks like Cedric is going to block and protect 1 with Mother of Runes. So he blocks Knight with Hierarch, gives the Hierarch protection with Mother of Runes, and the other Knight
is going to get untapped.
Going to get untapped by Maze of Ith here.
Well, wouldn't you just do that to the one that got blocked, though? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused in which one.
I just didn't see. It looked like he targeted the other, but it might have just missed it.
Yeah, the life totals were confusing me too. So now Cedric is down to 14. So he did take...
All right, so it was the other one.
Right. And I can't quite tell what he has down there on the end next to the other Knight. They are playing outside of the lines.
Yeah, he brought that scrubland or whatever that is in tapped, even though you don't have to. So I'm assuming he just cast something that cost 1.
Oh,
or
it's night
3.
number 3.
So he tapped it, sacked it. He brought it in tapped because he was going to tap it again and tapped his other land to play a 3rd night.
And
how does Cedric beat
Triple
that?
Knight of the Reliquary. I mean,
like, he's not going to have any spells left in his deck in a minute.
It's unfortunate that he lost his Gaia's Cradle, because being able to just basically tap that and remove all the lands in David's graveyard would be pretty awesome.
That was huge.
10 10s again, those nights. 31 power on David's side of the board, as opposed to 4 on Cedric.
Ship him in there.
All the knights coming in from David. Hierarchs each take on 1 knight, and a 3rd knight is getting Maze of Ith from Cedric.
Looks like it.
So Mother of Runes protects 1 hierarch, other Mother of Runes protects other hierarch. Cedric appears to be getting out of this with the same life total as he went into it.
Yeah, I think it doesn't look like David's able to get in there.
And so David goes ahead and untaps his knight just to have a blocker. There with
well,
his
so he
Maze of
can
Ith.
use it.
Or use it, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like he's using it.
He's using it. I don't think he's worried about blocking.
Yeah, I thought maybe he was. Well, he's at 10.
Yeah, but like you just said,
it's not very much power.
Repping 4. Why is that tapped again? These don't come in tapped off night, right? Knight of the Reliquary?
No, he's just casting his 4th Knight of the Reliquary.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. So he just keeps doing it ahead of time. And
yeah, he's just like, add mana, go ahead.
He's got all 4 now?
All 4 Knights. If he plays another one, I think
did
Cedric wins
remove
this
some
match.
stuff with...
No, I don't think he did. I don't think he removed
Didn't he
it.
have the 2 hierarchs available for green mana? The ones that blocked? To remove stuff with...
Yeah, I
to
thought he
remove
did.
a couple of lands?
Unless I missed it.
I did see him go up and touch his graveyard, but I didn't know if he actually took anything out or not.
Well, now he did, right? Or did he? Is that his only graveyard? Okay.
No, he's got
they're
more.
counting. I'm very confused with the movement of the graveyards around. They're making
This is hard to tell what's going on. I didn't see Cedric tap.
Yeah, me neither.
But he could have just
removal.
said, I'm going to use this. He grabbed his graveyard and just threw 2 cards away. You know, just throwing 2 cards out of it that we can't see.
He must have shrunk them somewhat, because now they're 9/9 knights. And
yeah, that's right. And they're about to be 6/6, I guess? No, he still has a windswept heath there that he can use to pump them even further. Block.
So Hierarch on Knight, 2 other knights there. 1 is now being blocked by Scavenging Ooze. And
6 lands in the yard with another 7, with the 7th one just sitting right there waiting.
now something that just happened also is Wasteland on Cedric's Maze of Ith.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. So Cedric does not have access to that maze.
That's a big one, because maze can only be activated when your opponent's actually attacking you.
So right now Cedric Phillips has double Hierarch, double Mother of Runes, and a Scavenging Ooze on board. The Mother of Runes each are protecting, I believe, a Hierarch. Did he not target the Scavenging Ooze?
Right, he's removing a whole bunch. He did target the Scavenging.
Okay, so 1 Ooze is being protected by a Mother,
Yep.
or the Ooze is being protected by 1 Mother, and 1 Hierarch is being protected by the other.
That's right.
Cedric goes ahead and adds a bunch of green so he can remove as many lands as possible from David's graveyard to shrink those knights to 7/7s, it looks like.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7s. Yep. So it looks like Cedric's going to take 7 damage.
Go down to 7 here.
Yep.
Cedric is...
Did Cedric draw a Dryad Arbor?
Yes.
That blocks, right?
It blocks, adds green, removes land. You know.
Now it has summoning sickness, though. Is that?
Yeah, it can still block though, at least.
Yeah.
So it's.
But it can't add green right away.
And it looks like Cedric has something here. Thalia.
Yeah, okay.
Also blocks. So that's a very defensive Thalia.
It also means that Cedric has 2 green creatures, or actually 3 green creatures and 3 white creatures. So, ooh, there's a Jitte. What's that other card?
I think it was a Scavenging Ooze of David's own. But
this is game 1.
This is game 1, and this has been going on for what, 25 minutes almost.
Yeah, it's a very long game 1.
So Dryad Arbor. Okay, all 4 knights into the red zone for David. Dryad Arbor blocks 1. Thalia blocks another. Looks like. And Cedric did lose one of his hierarchs last combat, by the way, because he was not able to protect it. Instead, he protected his Scavenging Ooze. Makes sense. And now, Thalia, Dryad Arbor, Scavenging Ooze, and Noble Hierarch each block a knight. The 2 Mother of Runes are going to protect Ooze.
The Ooze.
And I'd say the Hierarch, I think. Yes, the Hierarch.
Agree.
So Cedric
now, the
again.
Hierarch, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but the Hierarch can tap for green to remove one of the lands again.
And that's what he does there.
Yep.
Shrinks.
Man, you were that called. If he would have had that cradle this whole game, it would have been a lot different.
Because those knights would have been pathetic.
Yeah, I think 2/2 for 3.
Yeah, I mean they would have had neat abilities, so he would have been able to tutor up lands and stuff. But like they're 2/2s, then he's constantly losing his.
Cedric drew and just passed the turn back. I didn't see what he drew.
Nor did I, but he has access right now to just the 2 green, right? I'm not seeing anything else.
Green and 1 from the Hierarch, yep.
All 4 knights again getting in from David. Cedric just not able to draw anything to get him back into this game, but he seems to be having...
Look at all the stuff that he's exiled.
Yeah, he's like, let me see what's left.
Those are all exiled cards.
That is nuts. Yeah, it seems like Cedric is able to... He's keeping himself in the game, but it's just... He can't really ever seem to get ahead. I mean, 4 Knights of the Reliquary, I guess, will do that to you, but he's trying not to give up anything here.
The Knights are 6/6s, so he can take 1 hit here. Although the one that he... No, he can't actually, because then doesn't David just Mazavith, one of the ones that are blocked, activate it, and that gets a land in the graveyard and pumps the other one to 7. So he actually does have to block all of them.
Yeah.
Well, no, because then Cedric has 2 activations on the Ooze as well.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
So he's actually going to end up taking probably maybe 4 or 5 here from that night. Depends on what David does, and if Cedric removes, which I imagine he will, removes cards from the graveyard. So there he goes. Taps the Hierarch for a green, removes the land, makes the Knights into 5/5s, I believe, at this point.
Looks at his hand a couple of times.
I don't think we've seen this come into play, but this is another tricky, cool interaction that is cool with Maverick, and it's pointed out by Robin on Twitter that you can attack with Knight. Knight deals the damage and then Mazavith the Knight, which is just awesome.
Because there's the...
it's still an attacking creature.
End combat step.
Right, and it's still considered an attacking creature. And then you can get a use out of the Knight.
Yeah.
I think in this case, I mean, David's kind of been doing it, but it's been in situations where the Knight's getting blocked anyway, so it's not as if it's doing any damage.
Yeah.
Or actually, he may have done that earlier in one of the earlier turns on a Knight that did get in, but can't quite remember. It's been so many combats with Knights and Mother of Runes protecting them, but Cedric is left with Scavenging Ooze and double Mother of Runes on board. He lost his Hierarch.
Scoop him up.
And now, he's can't keep up this this battle with 4 Knights of the Reliquary. So after what is that?
Found out
30 minutes.
I learned something important about the matchup.
Yeah.
Knight of the Reliquary. So you mentioned that before we actually started that it's kind of the biggest thing that the deck can do. I mean, it left unchecked, those would have been like 15-15s or something.
Yeah.
It was only the ooze that kept him in check, and even then it couldn't keep up.
Yeah, I mean it was really Cedric not being able to find much access to green mana. Not enough. Not as many with multiple knights on board. He's able to remove some. That was, yeah. So being able to remove some at a time, he was just, repopulating his graveyard with lands with the knights themselves. Like, okay, so you have a 3 green. Okay, so you remove like 3 lands. All right, I'm going to activate all 3 knights, or I'm going to activate a couple, and put some more lands in the graveyard again. Look for sacrifice 1 land. Get a fetch land, sacrifice that to get something else, use another knight it's just like, oh, this is absurd.
Yeah, it's funny because now I have a little bit of a different view. Like Mother of Runes was important, but it seemed better to protect the things that you wanted to do. Those things being Knight of the Reliquary, somewhat Scavenging Ooze. It happened to be really important in this matchup, in this game. I don't know that it would always be like that. Linvala seems super important. Ooze is pretty big, yeah. And Fauna Shaman as well. So like what I can see a game plan of being set up is maybe stick a Mother of Runes, try to Green Sun Zenith for a Fauna Shaman, and then get a Linvala down. And I think your opponent just isn't going to be able to do much after that.
I think that's a solid plan. Again, having not played Maverick myself, it's not really my style, but watching, it feels like that would be ideal. But you have to watch out for your opponents being able to get access to a Caracas before you're able to get the Linvala down, because once they, if just one activation of a knight that finds a Caracas, your Linvala now is like just going to get repeatedly bounced. So now you need to also worry about getting a wasteland for Caracas.
You have to manage your wastelands as well.
Yeah, make sure that you take out, you can take out or deal with their Caracas. Now, looking at Cedric's list, he has 2 copies of Caracas.
And I only see one over
only
here.
One in David's. I don't see one on the board.
Does Cedric have any Pithy Needles?
No, he does not. Oh, he's got a 3rd Caracas in the board. So
Caracas.
I think Cedric's set up more for the mirror than David is. He's got.
Well, and also, I mean, again, remember what we were saying before the match or before the first game there, about how I mentioned that Cedric seems to be much more aware and prepared for Reanimator, yeah, having access to 3 Caracas and 4 Purify the Grave, plus the oozes and the Bajuka Bog type stuff.
Right, they actually double pretty well against this matchup because you can deal with Linvala, you can deal with legendary creatures in general. So Caracas deals with Linvala, Caracas deals with Gristlebrand, Caracas deals with Emrakul. Like it's Caracas actually has a wide range, and then you have Graveyard Hate that deals with Reanimator strategies and also makes Knights of the Reliquary a little bit embarrassing if you are able to keep them from getting so big. It's not that tough to deal with a 2/2.
I see Cedric also went with 3 Scavenging Ooze as opposed to the 2 for David. Again, another nod, I think, to
both Reanimator and
Reanimator, and as it turns out, the mirror as well.
Yeah, so Scavenging Ooze, I think,
Dryad
is a
Arbor
huge
getting in
card
there?
right now. Yeah, Dryad Arbor on turn 1 from Cedric and gets in there on turn 2.
Tree beatdowns?
Yeah, hit you with a branch.
Yeah.
It's like, David has a Hierarch for his.
But was that a turn
play.
2 Hierarch?
I think this is David's turn 2.
This is his turn 2. Okay.
And he has a Scrib Ranger. Now that's pretty tricky. Allows him to return the forest to untap a creature. So he just paid 2, played the Scrib Ranger, returned the forest to untap the Hierarch, and replayed the forest. Now
Ooh,
pays
and there's
2
the Fauna Shaman. So that's a big one.
Tricky turn, all enabled by Scrib Ranger.
All right, so now Cedric would instantly Swords to Plowshares that.
So he goes with a turn 3 Knight of the Reliquary on Cedric's side.
All right, so we do see a Fauna Shaman here, but also David's behind on mana.
Yeah, it looks like he may only have 1.
Just the 1?
And he does have the Hierarch there. So he's got a Mother of Runes, I believe, in hand, and there it is on the table.
So, remember what I was saying? That I'd like to have a Mother of Runes with a Fauna Shaman out there? He's getting there. Now, the mana's an issue, though. He's still only sitting on 2.
You see that card in the bottom left, though?
Oh, Caracas. Hello.
Cedric actually already has his Caracas available.
Wow, he's pitching a Knight of the Reliquary, so he's definitely desperate for some amount of mana here. Or, you know, what is he going to get? Can you get a Dryad Arbor with that? You can.
Yeah. I was going to say, you just get a creature.
Go get a land. Dryad Arbor is a weird card. I've never actually played with it, so I always kind of question myself. Like, wait a minute.
It is a weird card. It is a creature
The
land
answer is always
forest.
more simple than I think. They're like, yeah, it's a creature. You can do that with a creature, right? I'm like, well, yeah. And then I'm like, well, can I tap it for mana the turn that comes in? They're like, it's a creature. It has summoning thickness. I'm like, but it's also a land. I don't understand.
Yeah, land, creature, forest, dryad.
Yeah, that's very elegant. I like the card, though. I think it's cool.
I like that it says Dryad Arbor is green. So it can be green Sun Zenith 4. That's very
and that's
relevant.
a big one, right? Because you can do it for just green.
Yeah.
Just pay green
Pay
mana.
a green and get a Dryad Arbor. So, all right. Cedric plays a Plains. That is a 2/2 Knight of the Reliquary for the moment. Cedric taps his Plains, untaps his Plains. No, so he sacrifices. So he tapped it for a white. Is using his Knight of the Reliquary, sacrificing the Plains to find a Windswept Heath, which is immediately being sacrificed to find a forest or a plains, and it is forest plains.
So we are in the act of growing this Knight of the Relic.
Okay, it was a 2/2 just 10 seconds ago. Now it is a 4/4. And the Caracas is there, and now not only does Caracas deal with Linvala, but it also protects Linvala in case David has an answer. So now David's side of the board is a 1/1 flyer, a 2/2 Grizzly Bear, a 0/1, well, it does provide Exalted, and
but it does shut down mana abilities too. Linvala does.
Yeah, I believe so.
So like it's just straight up 0/1. Wow, Linvala.
Yeah, it's straight up activated abilities.
So David would have to use a Swords to Plowshares on Linvala, in which case it would get removed and he could get one window with which to do some
his stuff. Yeah, and that's it. So he basically uses
Swords
it's going to
cost him a whole card
to open a window. Yeah, to use his creatures as they were intended to be used.
Now, alternatively, he could just get 2 Swords to Plowshares, right? Swords,
yeah, he could.
Activate
Swords,
Caracas,
activate Caracas,
do it
respond
again.
with that. Yeah. So, but what's happening here? David passes the turn. Cedric
plays Gaia's Cradle.
Swings with Linvala, plays Gaia's Cradle, plays the second Knight of the Reliquary, activates the first Knight. Cedric is on a roll right here with.
So even though David had what we were hoping set up, because I was trying to do a solid line to get to Linvala and have her protected, and and he was most of the way there. Cedric just says, well, I have a Linvala.
Right.
I'll play it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a function of Cedric having access to 3 Linvalas
and
to David's
scoop him up.
1.
Wow,
yeah.
that is incredible. Linvala is just insane in this mirror.
So you see, David, I believe, only has one main. I don't see any sideboard. No. So David has to search for Linvala or hope to just get lucky and
Cedric
draw
has 1 main and 2 side?
And yes, Cedric has actually, 1 main, 2 sideboard.
So he straight up has
all
access
in,
to 3 of them total.
Yeah,
So if I'm Cedric,
but you're not.
I'm pretty happy.
You are, yeah, but you are Marshall Sutcliffe.
I am Marshall Sutcliffe.
And if I'm Cedric, I'm pretty happy, but I'm not. I'm Joey Pasco.
Where are we, Joe?
We're in Seattle. And if we were Cedric Phillips, we'd be happy. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Having a good time here with Marshall, bringing you guys
we've been
live
having
coverage.
a really good time.
Yeah, it's always a blast. I know this is your first Star City weekend. You've done GPs before. I haven't experienced the GP Pro Tour excitement end of things, but I imagine it's
a little different.
Pretty awesome.
It's a lot like this. Yeah.
I think these weekends are
very
fantastic.
exciting. Yep.
Yeah, it's like they're exciting and they're exhausting. Like that's
by the end of today,
hand in hand.
I mean, I'm already tired. But by the end of today, like I'm pretty good now. Like I'll be a zombie.
Yeah, you get to go home after this, and that's it. I have to go to a hotel, wake up at probably 5 a.m. and go to a flight, catch a flight at 7, and then when my flight lands, I go straight to work.
Are you serious?
I'm going straight into work tomorrow, right after my flight lands.
I've done some of that
from
too,
the airport,
but I don't envy you, sir.
But it's worth it. This is a lot of fun.
It is worth it. So I really, I think that this is kind of fun to be able to look at Cedric's list, because I think you can start to see some of the decisions that he's made and see what his predictions were for what was going to come out.
Yeah.
Reanimator, we talked about that. But the Linvalas. You know, he probably said, I really need a plan for the mirror. And we just saw Linvala just smash that mirror.
Yeah, he made David's side of the board completely embarrassing.
It looked like
we were playing
horrible.
Grizzly Bears.
You're playing Grizzly Bears, playing an
was
0-1
Benelish
for
Knight
green.
or something? You know,
Has there ever even been an 0-1 for one that just did nothing?
Did
no
nothing,
way,
just a
right?
straight up. Yeah, I was thinking of, is it Benelish Knight? I'm going to look it up. No, not Benelish Knight.
That's the one with Flash or whatever. Ooh, okay, so we're off to the races here, and Cedric does have a turn 1 Mother of Runes, but he gets his Savannah. Is that a Savannah? Wastelanded.
Yeah.
Scrub Vanna.
I was thinking of Benelish Hero, which is actually strictly better to than a Mother of Runes if your opponent has Linvala out.
Yes, it is.
Because it has banding.
Yeah. She looks tough too. Look at that. Yeah. Shield in hand.
So a second Wasteland from David takes out Cedric's Dryad Arbor, and David is just mono Wasteland, mono Fetch. So,
which is okay. I mean, so far Cedric hasn't been able to.
Oh, that's going to be big.
Comes down.
Sylvan Library from David is going to allow him to basically pick and choose from the top few cards of his library every turn.
So he's going to look to lean on Sylvan Library to generate a big advantage and get the key cards out of the matchup for him. Cedric has a very sad Wasteland that has no target currently. So Sylvan Library is interesting because it acts as both card selection and card advantage if you want it to. It's going to be a big advantage, and it looks like Cedric is going to prioritize getting in for 1 damage over, protecting his Mother of Runes from something like Swords to Plowshares or whatever.
Yeah, it's an interesting play, but at the same time, 9.5 minutes left in the round.
Crucible of Worlds
Crucible
as
from
well?
David. This is really looking rough for Cedric.
Well,
because
so he's got some non-basics in his hand, so he's going to have to manage this situation very, very carefully.
He goes ahead and wastelands David's dual land there. Plays a
Hey,
Bajuka Bog.
Did David Sylvan Library?
I think he.
Like, I didn't see him take all the. See, this is what I was looking to happen. I just didn't see that part. All right, I'm sure if he did it now, he probably did it before.
Yeah, where he just actually didn't show what he or didn't see the actual.
Jitte comes down. There's no creature for it. Don't. Did he play that from his hand? Where's the rest of his cards in his graveyard?
Oh, Bajuka Bog removed his entire graveyard.
Oh, Bajuka Bog took it out. Okay,
Yeah,
so he took out at least his Wastelands so that Cedric has a chance here.
Yeah, it was looking real bad. That's what I was trying to get at.
I'm
but
sorry.
No, it's cool. We got distracted by did he Sylvan Library or not. But Cedric playing that Bajuka Bog removes David's graveyard. Crucible of Worlds, loses a lot of its power, especially in the form of those Wastelands. So, but David does have a window to use Path to Exile on Cedric's Mother of Runes. So right now the board is Cedric with a Bajuka Bog, a Forest, and a Plains. That's all that's on his side of the board. He appears to be supplementing that. Yeah, and he goes.
And he kills the library.
Okay.
Now there's 3 targets for it.
Yeah.
But Cedric wasted no time in taking out the library.
Yeah,
he knows that he's going to fall behind that card. Also, I think he has 2 Swords to Plowshares in his hand, so he's going to be able to use those when the Jitte attempts to equip here.
And that was a Kasali Pride Mage that flashed in, very quickly and took out the library.
It was not long for this world.
Yeah. So Kasali Pride Mage.
Does Gaia's Cradle make any mana if you don't have any creatures?
No, it makes mana equal to the number of creatures you control. So that's 0. That's 0. Right. And both players playing very quickly. So we're trying to get all the action out to you. David now has a sword, Birds of Paradise in play.
I also see an Elspeth Knight Errant in David's hand, I believe.
Yeah, he already got some good value out of that Sylvan Library, I think.
But, I don't think he drew any cards with it. Maybe 1.
I think maybe 1.
Yeah. All right, so Crucible's
going
to allow him to play this Windswept Heath from his graveyard, sack it, go down to 14. Now, the reason they're playing quickly is because they have 7 minutes left in the round and in their round, and they want to make sure that they can actually get a match finished. If any, we saw that first game go very, very long.
It was about 30 minutes long, I think. That
and I think it's in both of their interests to, play quickly here.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, Elspeth Knight Errant from David.
That is going to swing the tide pretty nice. I like that David decided to play Elspeth here instead of going for the equip as well. It just opens himself up to not doing enough this turn, and he can for sure play the Elspeth here.
So Cedric does have a Swords to Plowshares in hand.
He also has
a
like
Wasteland.
100 lands, yeah. So Wasteland
he has more. Oh my
do
God, does
much.
he have 3 or
I
he's
know
at
he has
least
2.
got 2?
Yeah. Wasteland's kind of sad.
Okay.
Ooh, the time's been updated. It's actually at 3 minutes, not 7.
Wow.
So this explains why they're really, really jetting. I mean, with 7 minutes, you definitely want to pay attention.
What happened that we were off? Just out of curiosity, how did we just start it wrong at the wrong time? Oh, okay.
Linvala comes down on David's side, and he plays a land.
Well, the time is now accurate, and we have almost 2 minutes left, almost at the 2-minute warning here. But David playing Linvala,
Well, Cedric just drew his own Linvala.
Wow.
But he doesn't have the ability here. I think he just needs to 1-for-1 with Linvala.
Just trade Linvalas. Yeah, I think that's what he's gonna.
He's sad about it. I mean, he can plow.
Oh,
he
that's
can just
right.
plow
That's right.
Linvala.
Can he? Does he have access to triple white though?
Well, he named human, and I don't know if she's a human or not. Is she an angel?
I don't think Linvala's human.
I don't think so either. She's an angel. So that's kind of awkward because now he's got to wait an extra turn here to do it. But we're definitely going to see some Swords to Plowshares come down on equip here.
So
what is that?
Looks like
it's on a soldier token.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see Elspeth down there completely hiding.
Yeah, she's hiding, but she's definitely been making soldiers down there. Attack, attack. And David, again, very astutely, he's put it on the soldier token. He's playing around Swords to Plowshares. He's like, look, if you want to plow away this token, go for it. I got more where that came from. Now we know that Linvala is going to eat a Swords to Plowshares here. And the question is how important is it to Cedric?
Okay. Oh, he's got a path as well. So path to exile on Linvala.
Wow. Path, plow. Now, is that he has a plains, is that his only actual white source though?
What, the plains?
Yeah, or is that a savannah?
That's
that he
a savannah, yeah.
Okay, so he has 2 white sources for non-creatures. He did let the Jitte get counters though.
And Knight of the Reliquary from David to replace the Linvala.
Man, you know what would be sweet? Wrath of God.
Yeah, seriously.
And the God just
the
wrecks
funny thing
this
is,
deck.
I don't know if Cedric brought it in, but he does have Martial Coup.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, which I thought that was kind of an interesting inclusion. I don't remember
this
seeing
seems
that
like a
very
matchup,
often.
like a heavily creature-based matchup with no permission. Like, what else would you want it for? And he clearly understands that this matchup goes long. All right, so he's named human. He's going to play a Mother of Runes with his Cavern of Souls. Can't cast anything else with it anyway. 1, 2, 3.
Knight of the Reliquary here from.
Now he might want to use that Cradle while he has a creature.
And the time is out, so Cedric right now is on turn 0, I believe.
Yeah, so the judge is going to be calling that shortly. He's got his own timer in hand, but it should be very close.
Pretty sure they may have announced it and we didn't notice because
They did announce time in the round for
Okay,
Legacy.
are you talking about for these guys?
But I don't know for these guys. I mean, I'm sure they just say it the thing, right?
Yeah, pretty sure that that should be accurate now. Yeah, so this should be turn 1.
This is turn 1.
Are we correct in that? We're just double checking.
I heard it from Choi. Yeah,
oh, good. Okay, he's triple checking for us. He's very good.
Because Joey Pasco does not trust
something.
Choi. All right, so the Maze of Ith bites it here, but it can come back. It's just he can't do it at instant speed.
And looks like the Jitte took out that Mother of Runes. Cedric is so far on the back foot. I don't know. I think this is either going to be a draw or Cedric's just out. So David's turn 0.
David is turn 0.
That's interesting because it felt to me like it. I mean, according to the timer,
Plowshares,
doesn't matter. Swords to Plowshares on the soldier token from Cedric. Interesting.
That is kind of interesting. Because I'm assuming that we're going to be seeing Linvala, right?
Swords
to Plow
your
that.
Knight. This is looking closer and closer to a draw. I mean, Elspeth's pretty sick, but
she is. She really is.
Only when you have the time to make her, to get a lot of value out of her. Now the soldiers are being pretty good, but
all right, there's a bear.
Green Sun for Fauna Shaman. Is that what that was? Green Sun for Fauna?
No,
Green Sun for Knight.
It was
Fauna
Play
Shaman,
Shaman.
Green Sun for Knight. Okay, that's what it was. Whew.
All right, so I think that's the last cards in his hand as well.
And
so
Cedric
now
says,
Linvala comes down
Linvala.
and turns all of his guys into vanilla creatures, although vanilla creatures might be good enough here.
Yeah, and the Knight is a 4/4, which is, kind of
and it's going to stay
big.
a 4/4. I think that Horizon Canopy is on the battlefield, though.
Yeah.
So he can cycle that thing away to draw a card. Oh, and he just rips Path right off the top
exile.
like a champ.
Wow.
That is one way to do it. So now, I'm looking to see if the Marshall Coup's in there as he thumbs through. Didn't see it. But
so is this turn 2 then?
David was turn 1, then turn 2 for Cedric, and
I thought he said David was turn 0.
David was turn 0,
So
turn 1 for
Cedric
Cedric, turn 2. So Cedric's going to be turns 1, 3, and 5. So the last turn will be on Cedric. Equip?
Yeah, Fauna Shaman picks up the Jite.
Yeah, this is going to get lethal pretty quickly. I don't think he actually has enough this turn.
Yeah, the Knight's...
Did Elspeth jump something?
Yeah, Knight jumps.
The Knight jumps, and I think the Knight's a 6/6 now. 1, 2, 3. It's a 5/5, so it's an 8/8 with Elspeth's jump ability.
Are you sure it's a 5? If it was yeah, it is a 5. Okay.
I think it is.
Okay. Green Sun Zenith from David. He has all the Zeniths, apparently.
So that's 8, 9, 10 that Cedric takes here, and he's going to need to hit something pretty impressive.
Like Marshall Coup.
Yep. I would be impressed by a Marshall Coup. That is a Green Sun Zenith, and he's also got a Wasteland. Can he Zenith for something with flying? I don't think so. Green doesn't usually get flyers.
Well, he's got Scrib Ranger in the main, and may have kept it in post-board.
Does that have flying?
Scrib Ranger does have flying. Yeah, that was what we saw David. Scrib Ranger is one of my favorite green creatures ever, I think. It's just crazy tricky.
Wow, weird card.
And awesome artwork.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of a weird card.
That's an insanely
there it
weird
is.
card.
A 1/1 flash flyer for green. That also, and it has Pro Blue and return a forest to untap a creature once each turn. So that's your turn and their turn. So you can do crazy shenanigans, twice as much.
David has one more window to win this game, right? Like 0, 1, 2. This is turn 3, so David is going to be on turn 4, and he has to win that turn.
Yeah.
So if Cedric can somehow not die...
Here comes a Green Sun Zenith for, it looks like 4 from Cedric?
Yeah, but he can go less than that if he wants.
Mm-hmm.
He has no other spells. There's a Gideon.
He has Scavenging Ooze there. He's looking through, trying to figure out.
There was a Scrib Rangers that just went by.
Kasali Pride Mage he stopped on.
But he's got to stop for...
So it goes
he
with,
can gain life with ooze.
Right, so that can potentially
Although
block and gain some life. I don't know if it's enough life.
But if the Knight of the Reliquary has flying, then it's going to be just huge. It's already, a 5/5.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I don't see how
it
he's
would
gonna,
become an 8/8.
Even if he can remove all the lands, Knight is going to be a 5/5 flyer.
Also, there's an active Jite with 2 counters on it, plus a 1/1 attacker, plus another 2/2 attacker.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Cedric's thoughts were there. I mean, maybe it's just last ditch kind of hope. I can do something.
I don't think he had any outs there. Like, I think he's just dead. Like, as long as David doesn't screw it up. I don't know if there was a jump involved here. All right, this is a little bit murky water here.
Yeah, with the
like if you start to go to where you're deciding to attack. Okay, so the shaman's been jumped. He's going to cycle. He's going to play a Pride Mage. What is he going to try to just attack with one creature? He is.
That's it.
Oh,
all right.
It was jumped.
Yeah,
okay.
It was. Yeah. That's it.
So I guess he just couldn't gain a life because he can use a Jite to give it +4/+4 at instant speed.
Yeah, I mean it was already a 5/5 and then could grow a little bit bigger and also exalted.
Yeah, so there was exalted from the Pride Mage.
I don't think Cedric had an out. I think that was just
he didn't.
It was just rough. I think
He had an out off the top of his deck, I think. I'm not sure if, like, I don't know if that